Well, Molly, the Biden and Trump investigations both sparking some new calls to review exactly how sensitive documents are managed. You know, critics have long argued that the classification system that is used is, well, just too broad and kind of unmanageable. The White House acknowledging a push to reform the safeguarding of top-secret material.
The president's going to appoint a task force to review how transitions look at classified material to ensure that there are better processes in place so that when, staffs around the building are rushedly packing up boxes to try to get out during a transition as quickly as possible, at the same time and up until the very moment that, they're still governing and doing matters of state, they're going to try to make recommendations that can be fixed.
And someone who knows a lot about this stuff is Morgan Wright, former State Department senior advisor on anti-terrorism, served under President George W. Bush, now chief security at the cybersecurity firm SentinelOne. Morgan, welcome. I mean, it just seems this is sloppy on both sides. What's wrong with the system?
It's not so much what's wrong with the system. It's what's wrong with the personal responsibility of the people doing it. Look, Eric, the rules, the regulations, they've been established for a long time. There are training courses on this. When you're in the Senate, I'm not picking sides, but when you're in the Senate, you don't originate intelligence, you consume it. So you don't take it outside of the secure compartmented information facility, the SCIF. You handle things electronically and in physical form. But on the other hand, you don't remove documents unless you've gone through the process of declassification, which any president can do, or what they call a classifying authority. The Secretary of State could declassify documents. So I don't think the problem is we need more rules and regulations. I think we need more accountability for the rules and regulations that are already in place that govern, I just think, almost every conceivable scenario.
Never having, as far as I know, seen classified material directly. Can you walk us through that step? You get some papers or something. This is top secret. I know, I've seen that. Does someone keep track of it? Do they know where it goes? You're late on a library book, you get a ping. You can make a reservation at a restaurant. They know you have to show up in 15 minutes. You get that on the iPhone. How is this done? How do they keep track of it? Who knows? And is someone knocking your door if you don't give it back?
Yeah, it depends on what agency you're in, but I will tell you that when it's electronic, that's much easier because you generate audit logs. They know you're looking at emails. They know you've accessed a secure portal. You've got access to documents. We saw some of those cases with some of the downloading of the State Department cables. When it's in physical form, I go back and I think about Sandy Berger in the National Archives. A lot of this is based upon trust. When you get a security clearance, you pass what's called, if you get the top secret, it's an SF-86, Standard Form 86. They go through your background. Part of this is the element of trust. In other words, if I don't trust you, then I shouldn't be giving you access to these documents. So we're trusting you to manage these documents. But a lot of times when you're in a SCIF or you're in certain facilities, you just don't take those documents out. So there's, again, I mean, if you tried to figure it out, it'd be a 10-level matrix. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the rules are there, the regulations are there, the training is there for you to get your security clearance. You sign non-disclosures. You understand what the penalties are. So a lot of this stuff is just common sense. It's like if it's classified, it stays in a classified location. You don't pick it up and take it with you unless you have authorization to do so, and that's written and that's documented.
Does the president or ex-president or a vice president, do they have the authorization to do whatever they want?
Well, when you're president, the president can declassify anything. In fact, one of the stories that your producer sent talked about when Bill Clinton declassified something for the leader of Pakistan to avert nuclear war. President can do that at any time. The vice president doesn't get to do that. And they can recommend it, right? But once you're out of office, you have zero authority to declassify everything. So if it's not declassified before you left, you have no authority once your time in office is over.
Sandy Berger, a former national security advisor for Clinton, was in the National Archives, took some material.
Yep.
Do you remember what it was? Stuffed it in his socks. It was Sandy Berger,
Yeah, it was some of the things from the Clinton archive. He stuffed it in his socks. Look, that's the no-brainer. You walk out, you stuff it in your socks. The rules are you don't remove anything from the National Archives, period. They had people watching there. But again, it was Sandy Berger. It's a position of trust. You trust somebody who's held cabinet-level positions, or worked for the president to say, we trust you to handle these documents. But at the end of the day, if we have to micromanage trust down to the point of where we're watching what everybody does every second of the day, watch documents they're touching, I guarantee you progress will come to a halt and operations will come to a halt because you cannot be successful when you're micromanaging operations.
So you have a lot of experience in this finally. What is the remedy from your point of view? Is there something that can be done to try and prevent this stuff showing up in the garage next to the Corvette or in the shower down at Mar-a-Lago?
I know that they want to come up with additional process, but the easiest thing to do is to have a nonpartisan transition team that handles all the aspects of classified documents. When you're transitioning from one administration to the other, you deploy this team for a short amount of time. They ensure that only the documents that need to leave, and that the ones that you're entitled to have access to, you do. And otherwise, they retain and keep and then share those or bring those back to the original agency, the originating agency, who should be in possession of those documents. So I don't think we need to overcomplicate it. They do transition teams for everything else. Just put a transition team in place for handling classified information.
Yeah, good point. Think they would do that, but that sounds like what may be needed. Former State Department advisor Morgan Wright, who knows about this, of course. Mr. Wright, thank you.
You better.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.